1. Haunting pictures of the Belgian car graveyard. Rust in peace, haunting pictures of the Belgian car graveyard where U.S. soldiers hid beautiful vintage motors after World War II. They had been stationed in the southern Belgium village of Chattoun. Shipping cars home was too expensive for the soldiers. They hoped to collect them later, but none were ever retrieved. The vehicles have now corroded and parts have been taken by collectors. Motors from soldiers based near the site at other times were added to the plot over the years. 2. Sweden's classic car graveyard. Sweden's classic car graveyard, 1,000 automobiles from a bygone era worth 100,000 found rusting in a forest. The scrapyard was established by two brothers to store cars abandoned by servicemen during the Second World War. Rusting classic cars including vintage Opels, Fords, Volvos, Buicks, Audis, Saabs and a Sunbeam. Hikers have discovered trees growing around bodywork and moss covering seats and steering wheels. The forgotten vintage vehicles are worth an estimated 100,000 in scrap value alone. Inside this forest lies 1,000 forgotten cars from the 1950s, a vintage car collector's dream which has been left to rust. The scrapyard was established by two brothers to store cars abandoned by servicemen during the Second World War now lies neglected. Rusting classic cars including vintage Opels, Fords, Volvos, Buicks, Audis, Saabs and a Sunbeam litter the natural undergrowth. 3. World's largest old car junkyard, Old Car City, USA. Strange abandoned places. Abandoned vehicles. World's largest old car junkyard, Old Car City, USA. By Mysterious World March 9, 2019. World's largest old car junkyard, Old Car City, USA. 50 miles north of Atlanta, a 34-acre compound houses one of the largest car collections in the world. But this collection doesn't have polished Ferraris or Porsches under shining lights. There are no immaculate Mercedes or Bentleys proudly displayed behind velvet ropes. A rusty sign out front of the site reads, "The world's oldest junkyard jungle, here 80 years." Most of this collection is unsalvageable mid-century American steel, and it lays strewn about a forested property in rural Georgia. Over 4,500 cars, most of which are model year 1972 or older, belong to a man who spent his life saving some of America's classic cars from the crusher. Old Car City began in 1931 as a general store, opened by the family of current owner Dean Lewis. Dean's parents ran the store in the town of White, Georgia, and sold various items ranging from clothing to car parts, tires, and gasoline. When the United States entered World War II, resources such as steel and tires became scarce as they were directed toward the war effort. The Lewis family smartly followed the money and shifted the business into scrapping cars. By the late 1940s the general store had morphed into an auto salvage yard. But Dean had a different vision for the business. Rather than profit off the destruction of cars, he wanted to preserve their legacies. He recalls, "My daddy bought me a 40 Ford when I was about 12. 4. Abandoned luxury cars rot away. Amazing collection of luxury cars, abandoned. Imagine having so much money you can afford to just ditch your 1.65 million Ferrari Enzo, or abandon your 1000k BMW, Porsche or Range Rover? Coolmaterial.com reports on the state of thousands of abandoned luxury cars, left to rot in the desert. Sure, Dubai isn't considered the definition of financial restraint. It's very much a go big or go home mentality when it comes to extravagant material things. From skyscrapers to luxury cars, the bigger and more expensive, the better. There are approximately 2.1 million people living in Dubai. In 1 year over 3,000 luxury vehicles were abandoned in Dubai. In 1 year.